This girl was an excellent student, but she fell for a boy who loved fighting in skipping class. They barely spoke at first, yet each accidental encounter slowly brought them closer. At the start of the semester, Jack got punished for getting into a fight. Meanwhile, Jenny, who was focused on her studies, was suddenly called to the teacher's office. The teacher explained that Jack had actually fought to protect a classmate and asked Jenny to convince him to come back to school. But when Jenny arrived at his house, Jack suddenly yelled at her. She froze on the spot. Once Jack realized she was there, he panicked and jumped out the window to escape. Confused and startled, Jenny turned and left. On her way home, she was suddenly tackled to the ground. Jack thought she'd been sent by the teacher. Jenny was terrified and quickly explained that she'd only come to deliver some papers. She thought he'd let her go, but instead, Jack suddenly asked her name. His attitude changed completely. He blushed and shyly said he wanted to be friends. Jenny didn't think much of it. Later that day after school, someone grabbed her arm and pulled her aside. It was Jack again. He said he wanted to take her somewhere. It turned out he was treating all his friends that day. Those friends were a group of troublemakers, and they asked Jack to lend them pocket money. To Jenny's surprise, Jack smiled and gave them the money happily. After they left, Jack asked Jenny about school life. He admitted he envied her for having real friends to hang out with after class. He had no one. Jenny was the first person who ever came to see him. He even insisted those delinquent boys were his friends. But Jenny said, real friends don't keep taking your money. She told him those people weren't worth it. Before she could finish, a soda was poured over her head. Jack turned and walked away. Angry, Jenny grabbed her own drink and threw it right at his head. When he turned around, she ran off. The next day, the teacher learned that Jenny's attempt to help had failed and decided to expel Jack. Jenny went to his house again to tell his father about it, but the man asked her to stay. That's when Jenny overheard those same delinquent boys talking about Jack. When she turned around, Jack was standing right behind her, his face tired and defeated. Jenny said nothing and started to leave, but when she ran into those boys again, she froze in fear. She tried to tell them to treat their friend sincerely. Just as one of them reached toward her, Jack appeared. He grabbed the guy by the collar and yelled for them all to back off. After it was over, Jack walked Jenny home. On the way, he suddenly started crying. He looked like a lost child. Jenny's heart softened. She gently hugged him and told him he would make many true friends someday. She realized then, the day of the fight, Jack had been the only one who stepped in to protect a bully classmate. Jenny saw something different in him. Jack confessed his feelings. He said he'd start going to school again for her. But Jenny told him he was just confused, that she was his only friend for now. Jack shook his head. He said even if he made new friends, his feelings for Jenny wouldn't change. The next day, Jack returned to school. During PE, he changed clothes right in front of everyone, and after class, he always dragged Jenny out to eat. She could barely focus on studying anymore. Trying to help them bond, the teacher gave Jack a romance novel. Jack followed the book literally and wrapped his arm around Jenny's shoulders. But Jenny didn't see him that way. Her only goal was to become the top student in school. With exams approaching, she had no time to waste. To her, anything less than first place was meaningless. Then, surprisingly, Jack started helping her with her studies. That's when Jenny remembered the reason she hadn't represented the school last time was because the top student back then had been Jack. Realizing this, Jenny refused to talk to him anymore. Jack just laughed and said exams were easy and not worth studying for. That only made Jenny angrier. Soon after, she was pulled aside by some younger students. They said Jack used to bully them. Jenny ignored them and kept studying where she was. Moments later, Jack showed up. Jenny told him to stop causing trouble, but furious and out of control, Jack wouldn't listen and accidentally hurt her. Seeing how reckless he'd become, Jenny told him their friendship was over. Jack was devastated. Days passed quietly. Jack skipped